I need another one.
Oh, shit. Hi, I'm Let It Rot from Brandon Hartman, and you're watching My Merch Guy. So, what are you talking about?
How did the band history? How did it start? How did the name come about?
How did the name start?
How did the whole band start first?
Big Chili.
Well, it started in the original drummer's basement, and I heard a rumor that he likes to tell people that I stole the band from him, which I think is fucking hilarious. RJ and I built this shit from fucking scratch 2 weeks after an argument. And the name came about, we were sitting there with the original drummer guy, who I won't mention, and we're all tossing out a bunch of names. I had a bunch of stupid names, and the drummer guy had a bunch of names. He had one that was like Project 42 or something. Yeah. Project 42. That was one of the name Project 42 came up, and a bunch of other names came up, and I thought that was terrible. I guess the name Project 42 came up because the original drummer said, "Oh, I've been in a bunch of bands before. I've been in this many bands, so let's name it that after how many bands I've been in." I'm thinking to myself, that's a terrible track record. You've been in 42 bands and they all failed? Wow. So anyway, we keep shooting names out. RJ ends up throwing out some name from a Dance Gavin Dance song. It's just a lyric from a Dance Gavin Dance song, and it's Let It Rot. And he goes, "Let It Rot," and I'm like, oh, that's cool. Let's do that. And that's what we did. That's how it stuck, and it worked. And then from there, we're talking about logo design and things like this, and we came up with the wreath, pretty much thinking about how simple. Oh, this wreath, yeah. This wreath. We came up with that thinking about how simple logos can be and should be, and eye-grabbing, something circular that's going to fit into all your Instagram frames and Facebook frames and everything like that. And that's what we ended up with is this circular wreath that fits in all of our Facebook frames and Instagram frames and social frames. It's easy to recognize with an easy to recognize name with a cool logo, and it I think that helped. I think that really helped out a lot. It made it easy for people to chant our name and talk about us and come to our shows and say, "Hey, I like these guys." You know, we used to play this whole angle of balling on a budget and making it look like we were bigger than we really were right from the beginning, and I think that helped us a lot, because you want to dress for the job you want, not the job you have. Members?
RJ, you have RJ. It's you and RJ.
Well, there was Howard. There was Nick. Howard, he goes by Mayhem. He was our original bass player. The dude had a crazy stage presence, and he brought along with him a lot of people. That man could sell some fucking tickets. He had a lot of life problems going on, and he wasn't able to hang out. There's some discrepancy around that. Him and I have talked about that. There's still a little bit of disagreement upon his exit from the band. However, you also had Nick Laffler. He was our original rhythm guitarist, and then RJ Lambright. They all sort of left on their own accord, one by one. And a lot of this seemed to happen right around the fall of COVID. COVID was really bad for the band. It took the biggest hit on the local scene that you'd ever seen, I guess, really. Local scene's always had its ups and downs, but COVID really knocked out just about everybody that was worth their salt at the time. And only a couple people managed to survive. Even a couple bands had to rebrand. It was just a very difficult time for everybody. Coming out of it, is where I think we really got our salt in the scene, because we were one of the ones that we made it through, we succeeded. COVID couldn't keep us down, and we found a group of people between AJ and I. AJ I consider him technically the first drummer from when the band was actually established, because when the band became established, we didn't have a drummer. And he joined on and took the role phenomenally, and took the role phenomenally and made it his own and made the band his own band. He made it his own thing, and to the point where it's also, I think it's AJ's baby, and I think the longer you're in it, the more it becomes their baby. That's something that I've always wanted, is for it to be everybody's band, never to be just my band. But I've never had the opportunity to be with a group of people for so long like I have had the current group. I think the current group that we have has been the longest tenured group of Let It Rot.
This is not unedited. Andrew Ketchum of Pallet Town is a member of the band.
How did Andrew join?
Man, that's actually kind of a hard question for me.
I don't really remember fully how Andrew joined. I remember talking to AJ about how we need a bass player for the band. We lost our bass player, Mayhem, and he was like, I know a guy, but he's kind of an odd fella sometimes. And I'm like, how bad could that fella be? He can't be that bad. And he's like, well, you know. So I didn't listen to it, and I told him, hit him up anyway. And so here comes Andrew, and Andrew's no weirder than the rest of us. We're all fucking fucked up, weird in some way. So what difference does it make to me? And he plays bass for a while for us, and he's a great bass player. And then eventually things change, things happen, and we decided he just needs to move up. He's better, and it's just more useful for him in that position. So he moves on up to the rhythm guitar, and we need to search for a new bass player.
So, when I joined the band, I was asked to try out by one of my best friends, who was the drummer, AJ. But when it came to the tryout, there was a handful of people that said they were trying out, and it never really followed suit, so I kind of just got it as the bass player of Let It Rot. You're practicing at a place that I used to practice with AJ at our old band together, Omashes. So it was kind of weird, where it's just like, oh, I'm going back to this place I used to practice with in another band. But it felt like home. It was awesome. I knew where everything was at. I didn't have to look for anything, and everything, I knew exactly the exact spot for it. And it felt comfortable, it felt right. And not even a month being in the band, noticing like some members being late and everything, and not showing much initiative to be in the band, which I get it, life happens. And RJ just quit out of the blue. Like, we all got together, we were waiting for him to show up, and he just kind of barged right in, took his stuff, and left. Which, I get it. Life happens. Some things take a different turn, but he's doing better, which is great. Good for him. We had a little bit of a panic. I was like, okay, someone that's doing the guitar duties and partial vocal duties left the band. Okay, so what do we do? And I had a history of doing backing vocals in my previous bands. So I just raised my hand. I was like, I can take over the clean vocals, just to see how it did. And right then and there, we also thought, well, who's going to do the rhythm guitar? And at that time, I didn't put my hand up because, well, I already had all of this money invested into bass equipment. I kind of just stuck with that for a little bit. Right? We thought of who could fill in the void for rhythm guitar, and we're like, all right, we have this guy, his name's Bernard Pohl. I think Dom went to school with him.
We all went to school together.
Dom and Brandon went to school with him and hit him up, and he was like, yeah, I'll join. And right then and there, like, great, awesome. So we had a full lineup back up and running again. And it went well for a little while. We picked back up and we wrote an album. It sounded great. I had my first release as a clean vocalist on a record, even bass. It was my first professionally released work. We had a release for the album. We had a little tour that we had, and it was really fun. Right before the tour, though, we did this live stream out in Traverse City, which was great and everything. And the next morning, Bernard decided to part ways with the band, and that really messed with us. It was right before tour, and I mean, we get it that announcing your first tour as a band, it can be pretty stressful. As he parted ways, we had a good backup plan, and we stuck to it, and it was pretty solid. Dom made probably just under half of the album.
But I wrote a lot of it together.
Yeah. And then Bernard Hull also played a factor into Malaise Fervor, which has been gaining streams out of nowhere, just big streams. RJ was a big contributor early on, and everyone really has been a big part of the band.
So starting from the very beginning, when I was in the initial phases of joining Let It Rot, I was talking to Brandon about, just the band in general, and I had been to a few shows. They had just gotten rid of one of their guitar players, and I don't know to say that they got rid of is the right terminology. I believe he left of his own accord. They, proposed to me like, hey, would you potentially want to fill that role? And they were going to come over to my house to talk more about it in person. Ultimately, came in, we sat down, talked about it, and I decided that, yep, I was going to fulfill that role. And I did so for a handful of years, I think up to like 2023, 2024-ish. My entire experience being in that band was really cool. Just starting with the band when I, was filling in, I had to learn all the songs. I had to, make sure that I was a good fit for everyone. It was nice to have a group of guys that were dedicated in the same way that you would be. Like, if you're super passionate about music and you want to give it your all, you're in a band with the, same kinds of people that feel the same way. They want to do the best they can. And
after a year of, not even a year, it's probably about 7-8 months, we decided that it would have sounded better to backtrack bass for the time being, and I moved to guitar. Just sonically it sounds better, so I moved to guitar, and then we were as a 4-piece for a little while with Dom on lead and I'm on rhythm. As I'm on guitar with Dom announces his departure from the band, and I was kind of like in shock, kind of in denial in a way, because it's like, all right, here's a member that had a very big contribution to our first full-length album, and now he's deciding that he's no longer wanting to do the live aspect of it. And it hurt me, and it took like less than 30 seconds of like, but wait, I have a replacement. And that one's Alex Torres.
I was tracking the EP for Son of Scylla, our Identity EP, at Dom's house. We were tracking, we were doing pretty good, we were getting some stuff done, and then, Dom was like, hey, once everybody leaves, I want to talk to you about something. So I was like, okay, cool. And essentially everybody left, and he asked me, do you want to join Let It Rot? And I was a little hesitant at first, not gonna lie. And it was more so just because it not particularly was used to playing that style of music. It just wasn't really a genre that I listened to too much. I'm more of a proggy person. And so at first I was like, I don't know if I want to join. And I was already trying to dedicate myself more to Son of Scylla.
ultimately, when it came down to it, there were some things that were happening in my own personal life. I was in the process of getting married and really settling in my own, trying to focus more on my business. So with that came some, trade-offs. Am I going to put all my time into the band, or am I going to put all my time into the business? And with my own business, it really took a lot to sit back and go, okay, if I want to achieve these goals, I have to put at least this much time into it. So I went ahead and found Alex, amazing as he is. You know, he's really fulfilling the role of lead guitar player excellently. I couldn't think of a better person in the scene to be in that role for Let It Rot. So I'm super proud of everything that he's done and how he's continued to evolve the sound overall. But I ultimately ended up leaving the band, all on good terms.
That being said, I mean, we have a case of 2 guitar players lined up, but we still needed a bass player. It didn't sound right. It didn't feel right without an actual bass player. And held up auditions, and we had a few people interested, and no one really sent any submissions in though. And really the only one that really stuck in was Scotty. Scotty's a very good asset to the team as well.
It's a good ass too. The right size.
But and now people have the thought where it's just like, oh, the bass player was bald earlier too, but he got smaller. Scotty's a great asset to the band as well. Both Scotty and Alex are huge assets. Alex is an insane guitar player, and Scotty's a great addition as well with his marketing background and also additional vocal ability. It's honestly, this is like the best lineup we've ever had, and no offense to previous members.
I joined because I was looking for a band in Lansing because I just moved to Lansing. I had known about Let It Rot. I had listened to Let It Rot a little bit, you know, and stuff like that. And I really, really missed playing on stage. Last time I had played at this point was 2019, right before COVID hit, and I just missed it so much. And I had a few failed attempts for other bands, but I was like, you know what, new area. And then I saw on Facebook that that Let It Rot was looking for a new bassist, and I was like, well, you know what, I haven't actually played bass in a while. The other projects I was trying to do more vocals than bass, but I was like, you know what, I miss playing bass too, so let me you know, I'll try out for these guys. I'm a little rusty, but I'll try out for it. So they had me, or they had everybody that was trying out for bass for that. They had us try out to Pesticide and Lake of Fire. And it was a little bit of a newer playing style than what I'm used to, so it took some relearning and definitely brushing off, you know, a bunch of rust. I've had a few of these. Brushing off a bunch of rust. So I remember just trying out for the band, and I had done videos and stuff like that. They sounded terrible. They were not good. I was talking to Andrew and Dom mostly, and Dom especially was super picky about what I was submitting. But I was like, yeah, like I'm so rusty. Like I'm trying, you know, like I'm trying to get back into it. And Andrew was he was nice about it the whole time. He was cool, but. Not to say Dom wasn't. Not talking shit about
Dom was a picky motherfucker.
He was very picky. He's a very particular guy. He's very nice, but he's very particular, which isn't a terrible thing necessarily. But and I'm great friends with Dom now. So, yep. So I tried out, and they ended up going on, I think, what was it, second tour or something that you guys did, and I didn't hear back from them for a while, so I was like, oh fuck, I don't think I made it. I don't think I made the cut, you know. And then I think right after you guys got back, or right before you went, or something like that, Andrew texted me and said, well, you know, it's been a while, I know, but not to get, you know, I think we might go with you, and like, oh man, I was so hyped. Like I was like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna be a band again. I was like, oh, I'm so excited to play on stage again, you know, and I was like a little schoolgirl. I was just floating around. I tortured my now wife with Let It Rot, like everywhere we went, and I still do. Everywhere we go, we still listen to just Let It Rot pretty much. So, yeah. So Andrew helped me learn, you know, the rest of the songs. I put my own little flair on a lot of the bass with it, and I've learned some new techniques from learning Let It Rot songs that I'm super glad that I've learned. Beforehand, I would mostly use, and I've actually brushed the dust off a little bit, you know, quite a bit from playing bass, but I was known for using 3 fingers, and now I use 4 for a lot of stuff too, which is a new thing. And then definitely my favorite band that I've ever been in. And I see so much potential with this band, and I'm just so excited to be in a band with these guys, and we all get along so well, and I think it's just the coolest thing.
Everyone had their part. Everyone did great adding to the band.
It's still cool to this day to see Let It Rot continuing to grow and continuing to evolve in their sound, which is why I'm honored that I got the chance to help them shape their sound, evolve from the early days of the End of Humanity EP into the sound of Let It Rot that was encapsulated in the full-length album. It was really, really cool experience. It took 2 years to do to fully release the full-length album, but that 2 years that we spent working diligently on every song, trying to make every moment the best that it can be and stand out truly as, you know, a unique band that doesn't just sound like every other metalcore, hardcore, slamcore band that you could think of. I got the unique position to also play producer and recording engineer, mixing engineer. I was focusing on that in college a lot, so I really became the go-to person for that in the band. I still talk to everyone today, and it's really cool now being on the outside, seeing them continue to grow, play with huge bands like Born of Osiris, watching them continue to evolve and grow as musicians and as a unit of a band. They really are taking the stage every time with all of their energy and all of their heart to give the people exactly what they want.
With the exception of maybe Alex, and even then he still has a year on his belt. And Scotty's got a year on his belt. So there's a pretty good tenure amongst the current collaboration of members, and it's been very beneficial to the band, and I'm very excited for the future of Let It Rot. I hope we keep pushing forward and doing more, doing better. The music industry has become a completely different beast from when we started almost 10 years ago, and it seems to just only be getting harder for the average musician to try to push forward. We had some really good numbers back in the day, and thanks to algorithm suppression, we can't seem to get those numbers again. So if you're watching this and you like Let It Rot, make sure you like, share, subscribe to Metal Mandate, Let It Rot, and tell your friends, tell your cats, tell your family, tell your grandma, tell your friends at school. Tell anybody about Let It Rot.
Stay hyped.
Hi, I'm Scotty Lang. This is Metal Mandate. That's Andrew.
We've smooched before.
Smooch shits.
Smooch.
Oh, shit.
And look what you did, Andrew. Andrew, you fucked it up! Anyway.
Put the beer bottle down now. It's okay. I'm done roasting Let It Rot. Don't worry.
Yeah, you're good.
If it's spilled, that's alcohol abuse.
That's alcohol abuse, bro.
Sorry for my outburst.
And I do plan on paying them back. Just kidding. Fuck you guys. I'm just gonna sell it, you know.
God damn it! And no, give me my hat back. Ah, he's gonna fuck me up! Oh, fuck! Ah! Oh! You can see the label. Oh, labels out! Oh! God! Damn it! Andrew sucks!
A piece of a band that's really, really helpful for us.
Okay, I'm done now.